Roy took a look at the maths problem on the board and solved the correct answer. When the maths professor at MIT saw the board, he was stunned. He couldn't believe that the graph theory problem that had taken him a whole month to come up with. He couldn't believe that someone else had worked out the answer overnight. It seems that I've brought out another genius. But until the end of the school day, the professor couldn't find out who this person was. So he put another super puzzle on the blackboard in the corridor that his team had been working on for 2 years to find the answer to lure the reluctant genius out. But as soon as the professor opened the door, he saw a man scribbling on the blackboard in the corridor. So he immediately went up to him and shouted a rebuke. "Get lost. No scribbling here." Roy threw down his chalk and laughed. The professor wanted to go after him, but when he looked at the blackboard, he was once again stunned. This quick solution was something their whole team had never thought of before. The professor was dumbfounded. This is more than a mathematical genius. My God. He was born for maths. But what the professor didn't know was, mathematical talent was only one of Roy's talents. He had an even better one. He's had the ability to remember everything for as long as he can remember. No matter what book he turned over once, and it's etched in his mind forever. Even the page and the line in the book. He remembered everything. But Roy, with his high IQ, had been an impulsive and irritable person since he was a child. When he got angry, he'd even beat up a policeman. So Roy was taken to court for assaulting a police officer. Who would have thought? Roy, who couldn't afford a defense lawyer, had already memorized all the provisions of the US Constitution. He used all the legal provisions he had memorized in the courtroom to defend himself until the opposing lawyer was speechless. And so, Roy was able to get the judge to reduce his sentence from 3 years to 1 year. But no sooner had Roy been put behind bars, the maths professor came to the door and said, "I'm willing to put up $50,000 bail to get you out, but you have to promise me 2 conditions. First, discuss a different maths problem with me every day. And 2, see a psychiatrist once a week for your mania. You're too cranky." Roy thought if he would just let himself out, let's just say yes on whatever terms. So that night, the two men began a mathematical discussion. Looking at the professor's problem on the board, Roy made 3 dots with his hand, and with a few strokes, he solved the problem. But there was a problem. Every time he attended the weekly therapy sessions, Roy became very resistant. To get rid of all the therapists, Roy would read a lot of psychology books in advance of each session. And then when it came time to give him formal counseling, Roy would look for holes in the psychiatrist's words and gestures in order to break down their defenses. Watching the doctors slammed the door one by one and left. The professor was so angry he couldn't speak. He had to lick his old face to invite his old school friend William. William is a true master of psychology. When he learned that Jack had been abandoned by his parents as a child and abused by his adoptive father, he immediately understood that his irritable nature was just a cover for his vulnerability. So William didn't say anything. He just kept repeating the words in a fatherly tone.
It's not your fault. Alright? It's not your fault. It's not your fault. Don't fuck with me, alright? Don't fuck with me, Sean, not you. It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
And so, Jack's vulnerable heart was touched for the first time, and with William's guidance he learned to control his emotions, and from then on, he lived a happy little life.